Welcome to Godless and Grounded.
Religion is humanity's biggest scam. This idea might sound bold at first, but when we look closely at how religion works, how it spreads, how it gains power, and how it maintains control over people, we start seeing a system that behaves less like a path to truth and more like a perfect example of mass manipulation. The world is full of scams, but no scam has lasted longer, reached more people, collected more wealth, or controlled more minds than religion. It has shaped societies, influenced laws, controlled education, guided morals, and even decided life and death for millions. It works in ways that would make modern scammers look like amateurs. The difference is that religion has thousands of years of experience and billions of followers who defend it without questioning. From the very beginning of human history, humans felt fear of the unknown. Lightning, storms, earthquakes, diseases, death, and darkness were things early humans could not understand. When people fear something they cannot explain, they create stories to fill the blank. Religion took those early fears and turned them into a business model. It told people that unseen forces are responsible for everything, and only certain chosen individuals can communicate with those forces. These individuals then became the first priests. The moment one group claimed to have secret access to the supernatural while others did not, humanity created the first power imbalance. The scam had begun. What makes religion so powerful is that it sells the most valuable product that exists: hope. Hope for protection, hope for health, hope for forgiveness, hope for life after death, hope that bad people will be punished and good people will be rewarded. Hope is a very addictive product, and when someone controls your hope, they control your mind. Religion promises a perfect world after this one, but only if you follow the rules made by the people who claim to speak for the divine. No scam is more effective than one that convinces people to police themselves. Religion does exactly that. People discipline their own thoughts because they believe someone is watching them every minute, even when they are alone. If a normal person on the street told you, "An invisible being is watching your every move, so you must behave exactly as I tell you," you would probably ignore them. Yet when religion says the same thing, billions accept it without question. This is proof of how deeply the scam has embedded itself into culture. Once an idea becomes tradition, people stop questioning it. They pass it to their children, who grow up believing it is the only way life works. That is how scams survive for centuries. They stop being questioned and start being considered sacred. Religion also works by exploiting guilt. Humans make mistakes. Every person feels guilt at some point, and guilt is a powerful emotion. Religion says that every mistake is a sin, and sin requires forgiveness. But who provides forgiveness? The same religious system that labeled the mistake a sin in the first place. It is a perfect loop. Religion creates the disease and then sells the cure. If you follow the rituals, donate money, repeat prayers, follow customs, and obey moral rules made thousands of years ago, then you can be forgiven. This approach allows religion to control human behavior by turning natural human emotions into tools of manipulation. Another part of the scam is fear. Religion uses fear as a way of creating obedience. Fear of punishment after death, fear of curses, fear of divine anger, fear of questioning, fear of being called immoral. This fear becomes so strong that people stop thinking logically. They accept stories that they would never accept in any other part of their life. If someone tells you that a donkey or a snake talked like a human, you would laugh. But when it is written in a holy text, people defend it fiercely. This is the power of psychological conditioning. Religion trains the mind to accept things that make no logical sense. Once the mind is trained to accept something impossible, it becomes easier to control that mind. When a scam grows big, it needs structure. Religion built temples, churches, mosques, and shrines to make its presence physical and permanent. These buildings became centers of power, wealth, and influence. People donated money, land, crops, jewelry, livestock, and labor. Many religions became some of the richest institutions in history. Religious leaders became political advisors, kings, and lawmakers. When a scam controls the economy, politics, and morality, it no longer feels like a scam. It feels like the natural order of society. But there is another layer. Religion teaches people that their religion is the only truth. This creates division between human beings. A real truth does not divide. A false system must divide in order to survive, because it keeps followers loyal and prevents them from comparing notes. If two religions both claim to be the only truth, both cannot be right. But religion teaches followers never to ask that question. It convinces them that doubt itself is evil. Doubt is the enemy of every scam. One of the clearest signs of a scam is that it cannot tolerate questions. Science welcomes questions because questions lead to more knowledge. Religion shuts down questions because questions expose weaknesses. Throughout history, questioning religion has been punished with jail, torture, social exclusion, and execution. If a system reacts violently when someone questions it, that system is not based on truth. Truth does not fear investigation, lies do. Another element of the religious scam is the way it rewrites history. Many stories written in holy books have no historical proof, yet religions present them as facts. Entire nations teach these stories to children as if they were eyewitness reports. This creates generations who grow up believing that mythology and history are the same thing. Once again, the scam survives because people do not examine its foundation. Religion also exploits the fear of death. Humans know that life will end one day. This idea can be frightening, but it is also natural. Religion takes that natural fear and turns it into a tool for control. It tells people that death is not the end, but what happens after death depends entirely on how faithfully they follow religious rules. This is the strongest psychological weapon religion has. When someone controls your fear of death, they control your entire life. Throughout history, religions have fought wars, caused persecution, executed people, suppressed science, burned books, enslaved populations, and controlled women. No scam has caused more harm. Yet people still defend it because the scam is disguised as love, morality, and spirituality. It tells people that questioning it is dangerous, that leaving it is betrayal, and that staying loyal guarantees salvation. Cults work the same way. Religion is just a very old and very successful cult with more followers and better marketing. In everyday life, people who never question anything else suddenly suspend all logic when religion enters the conversation. They demand evidence for everything except religion. If you challenge the claim that a holy figure split a sea, flew in the sky, lived inside a fish, or performed miracles that no one can replicate, they say that faith is the proof. But faith is not proof. Faith is belief without evidence. And belief without evidence is the perfect environment for scams. Religion also uses emotional stories to attract followers. Stories of miracles, visions, spiritual experiences, and personal transformation create the illusion that religion has supernatural power. But when examined closely, most of these stories have natural explanations. Human brains are vulnerable to suggestion. Emotional moments can feel like divine experiences. Dreams can feel real. Hallucinations happen. Cognitive biases shape our perceptions. Religion takes these natural psychological events and labels them as signs from the divine. Another sign of a scam is financial exploitation. Many religious institutions collect massive amounts of money in the name of charity, salvation, or spiritual progress. Yet much of that wealth is used to build bigger buildings, support religious leaders' lifestyles, or maintain political influence. Meanwhile, many followers remain poor. Religion promises spiritual rewards instead of real ones, which allows it to collect wealth without offering actual measurable benefits. At the same time, religion teaches people that suffering is meaningful. If you are poor, it is a test. If you are sick, it is a lesson. If you are oppressed, it is part of a divine plan. This mindset prevents people from demanding fairness in this world, because they are taught that ultimate justice comes in the next life. A scam works best when people accept their suffering instead of questioning it. Religion also teaches children to accept beliefs before they are old enough to think critically. No child chooses a religion. They are taught religion through repetition, fear, and reward. By the time they are old enough to think logically, the ideas are already deeply rooted. This is how the scam maintains itself generation after generation. At its core, religion is a human creation. It reflects human imagination, human fear, human desires, and human power structures. There is no evidence that a supernatural being created religion. But there is plenty of evidence that humans did. The stories, rituals, laws, and traditions all reflect the culture and knowledge of the time in which they were created. When a belief system looks like a human invention, functions like a human invention, and behaves like a human invention, then the logical conclusion is that it is a human invention. Religion is humanity's biggest scam because it convinces people to accept stories without evidence and to reject evidence that challenges those stories. This reversal of thinking is one of the most dangerous parts of the entire system. In every other area of life, people demand proof. If a doctor gives you medicine, you want scientific testing behind it. If someone sells you a product, you want quality. But religion is the only area where people accept huge claims with zero proof, and they do it with pride. This is the power of cultural conditioning. When an idea is repeated for centuries, it becomes normal, no matter how illogical it is. Religion also benefits from the fact that humans have a natural desire for purpose. People want to feel that their life has meaning. They want to feel special. Religion gives that feeling with simple narratives. It tells people that they are part of a big plan, that their actions matter to the universe, and that a divine being watches over them. This satisfies emotional needs, not intellectual ones. Scams always target emotions first, because emotional people do not think clearly. Religion mastered this strategy long before modern psychology even existed. Another part of the scam is the way religion uses rituals. Rituals give people comfort because they feel familiar and controlled. Lighting candles, repeating prayers, fasting, special clothing, or standing in specific patterns creates a sense of belonging. But rituals often have no logical meaning. They only exist to reinforce the system. When you repeat something every day or every week, it becomes part of your identity. Once a belief becomes identity, people defend it even when the belief makes no sense. This is why religious debates rarely change anyone's mind. They are not protecting ideas. They are protecting identity. Religion also manipulates human morality. It claims that humans cannot be moral without divine rules. This is a very old argument, but it has no evidence behind it. Humans form moral systems in every society, even without religion. Morality is based on empathy and cooperation, not on divine commands. But religion takes credit for morality to justify its authority. It tells people that good behavior comes from faith. But the world is full of good people who have no religion and bad people who follow religion completely. Morality is a human trait. Religion only claims ownership of it. A major part of the scam is the way religion sells life after death. This is the biggest product religion offers. No one has evidence about what happens after death. But religion presents detailed descriptions of heaven, hell, reincarnation, or resurrection. These descriptions match the culture and time in which they were created. A desert religion describes paradise as gardens and rivers, because that was desirable in a desert. A cold northern culture might imagine a warm and comfortable afterlife. The afterlife looks exactly like something a human would imagine, not something that would exist in reality. Yet people base their entire life decisions on these stories. They avoid questioning because they fear punishment or hope for reward. Religion also survives because it isolates people socially. When someone begins to question religion, they face pressure from family, friends, and community. Isolation and fear of rejection force many people to stay inside the belief system, even when they no longer believe it. This shows how powerful group pressure is. A scam that controls not only your beliefs but also your social life is very hard to escape. Another reason religion is humanity's biggest scam is that it targets children. Children do not have the ability to question or doubt. They trust adults completely. When a child is told that a supernatural being created everything, they believe it instantly. Religion makes sure the foundation is laid early, before critical thinking develops. Many people remain religious only because the beliefs became part of their mind before logic arrived. This is not real belief. It is psychological imprinting. Religion also uses emotional blackmail. It tells people that if they leave the religion, their life will become empty or cursed. It says they will lose meaning, morality, community, and hope. These are emotional threats, not real ones. Human beings create meaning through relationships, achievements, learning, creativity, and experiences. Religion pretends that it owns meaning so that followers stay afraid of leaving. Many religious stories also contain events that violate everything we know about how the universe works. Water turning into wine, seas splitting open, animals talking like humans, humans living hundreds of years, people flying without technology, or dead bodies coming back to life. If these things happened today, people would record them on phones, news cameras would cover them, and scientists would investigate. But all these miracles happened conveniently in times when no one could record anything, and when people believed almost anything they were told. It is very convenient for a scam to place all proof in the far past where verification is impossible. Religion also creates an illusion of unity. But in reality, it divides more than it unites. Every religion says it is the only correct path. Every religion divides humanity into believers and non-believers. This division fuels conflict, intolerance, discrimination, and sometimes violence. No true moral system would divide humans this way. A scam, however, benefits from division. If people are divided, they remain loyal to their group and defend it. This keeps the system strong and prevents followers from questioning. Division protects the scam. If religion was true, it would not depend on geography. But almost every person follows the religion of their birthplace. If someone is born in India, they likely follow Hindu beliefs. If someone is born in Saudi Arabia, they likely follow Islam. If someone is born in Italy or Mexico, they likely follow Christianity. This shows that religion is not based on truth. It is based on cultural accident. Truth does not depend on birthplace, but belief systems do. That is a sign of human creation, not divine origin. Another clear sign of the scam is that holy books contain contradictions, scientific errors, and outdated rules. These books describe the world in ways that match ancient human knowledge, not modern scientific understanding. This is exactly what we would expect if humans wrote the books. If a divine being wrote them, there would be no mistakes. There would be no outdated rules, but the books reflect the time and culture of their authors. That is why they contain rules about slavery, women, wars, food, clothing, and rituals that make no sense today. Scams usually reveal their human origin through errors, and religion is full of them. Religion also teaches people to avoid personal responsibility. When something good happens, they say it is divine blessing. When something bad happens, they say it is divine plan. This prevents people from taking control of their own life. Western countries became more advanced when they separated religion from politics and education. When science and rational thinking replaced supernatural explanations, progress began. Countries where religion controls society still struggle with education, scientific research, gender equality, and freedom of thought. This shows the huge impact of this ancient scam on modern development. Religion limits curiosity. It says some questions should never be asked. But progress happens because people ask difficult questions. Curiosity drives human advancement. A system that stops questions is a system designed to keep people obedient. Science moves forward because it admits when it is wrong. Religion never admits mistakes. A scam never admits mistakes because that would expose its weakness. Some people say religion gives comfort, so it is harmless. But comfort does not make something true. Comfort can be the bait of a scam. Many scams work by giving emotional comfort first. Religion gives comfort by telling people that a powerful being cares about them. But comfort can blind the mind to reality. The goal is not comfort. The goal is truth. If truth makes life uncomfortable, that is still better than a comforting lie. In real life, whenever someone questions religion deeply, religion reacts with anger or fear. A truth-based system would welcome questions. This defensive reaction shows that religion survives only as long as questioning is discouraged. Scams avoid transparency. Religion avoids it too. In the end, religion is humanity's biggest scam because it controls the mind, money, behavior, identity, guilt, fear, community, and even imagination. It is a system designed to maintain power, not to reveal truth. Humanity has reached a point where people can understand the universe through science, logic, and evidence. Yet religion tries to keep people mentally in the ancient world. It is a beautiful story for many, but stories are not facts. When we remove fear and tradition, we see religion as it really is. A collection of human stories that gain too much power. A set of ideas that should be examined the same way we examine every other claim. A system that has controlled humans for centuries by promising what it can never prove. A structure built on ancient ignorance but protected by modern tradition. But the truth is still simple. Humanity does not need religion to find meaning, morality, community, or purpose. We can build those through empathy, knowledge, science, creativity, and cooperation. We can build a world based on truth instead of fear. When humans finally learn to question everything, including their most sacred traditions, then the biggest scam in history will lose its power. Humanity will move forward not with blind faith, but with clear understanding and free minds.